Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, here we go. Let's see, I think I'm live on the Facebooks, live on the Instagram. Let's see how that looks. Yep, getting all the floor. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me move Instagram over a little bit. All right. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Joel's College of Swing Air and Knowledge. Mondays, jazz. Oh my goodness, where's my sheet? I should know this by heart. Hold on one second. All right. There we go. Mondays, jazz. Tuesdays, Charleston. Monday, jazz. Tuesday, Charleston. Wednesday, Lindy Hop and Jitterbug. Thursday, Spokane's Thursday evening swing night. Regular lesson. Friday, shag. Saturday, bell swing. Sunday, teachers and organizers. All right, so today is Monday, and it's Jazz Day. Let's see. Okay. Let me see something here. I don't know what that means. I just did something on Instagram. I don't know. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the macro and micro of jazz steps. So what does this mean exactly? It's a little piggyback on what I did last week with taking a jazz step and saying 8 count, 4 count, 2 count, and whatnot. But it's taking it to another level. So just as I did last night, I've been trying to prep for these sessions, and in prepping, I usually type up a lot of nice notes. So tonight, if you donate $5 or more, you will get the details behind everything. So I typed up everything. I'm going to go through this on a high level, but if you're a teacher especially, or not even a teacher, if you're just a dancer and you're interested in the nitty-gritty details, donate $5 or more, and then you will get the detailed notes, the PDF of tonight's talk. Okay, so looking at the macro and micro of jazz. So I'm going to give an analogy. The analogy, think about, I'm going to talk about a book. Okay, so you have a book, and you have chapters, and in those chapters you have paragraphs, and in those paragraphs you have sentences, and in those sentences you have words, and those words have letters. And so if you think about the macro is the book, and then each level down can be a micro, right? And then the letters are like the smallest element. But then each one is a micro of the one ahead of it. So for example, the letter is the micro of the words. The words, right? The words are a micro of the sentences, but it's a macro of the letters. So it all depends on how you want to look at these things. But on a high level, I'm going to think of an analogy like a book, then a chapter, paragraph, sentences, words, letters. So we can kind of think about it that way. And so specifically for this talk, I'm going to think about the Shim Sham. So a classic jazz routine called the Shim Sham. So that's the book. On the high macro level, the Shim Sham, the full routine, all the figures. You're like, hey, do you know the Shim Sham? And someone says yes or no. Some people have no idea what the Shim Sham is. So then we go to class, and now we start to nail down and go into the different micros. And so going along with our analogy, the book is this full Shim Sham routine, all the figures. The chapter then would be a particular section of steps in the routine. And so if you know the Shim Sham, you know you have like the drag step section and then the break. You have the push and crossover section and then the break, right? You have your Tacchiani section and the break, and then the half break section. So those are sections, and then you have the ending, and those sections repeat, all that stuff. So that would be a chapter. Now a paragraph would be an individual 8 count step. the 8 count step, like the drag step, or the push step, or the tachyani step, the full 8 count step of that. Now, if we go down our analogy further, going more micro, so now you have breaking that step possibly into a 4 count chunk. And then we micro even more. We break it into a 2 count chunk. And then we break it down even more to the most minuscule level, analyzing the individual movement that creates each step, or each movement, or each figure, if you will. There's a lot of different ways to describe what we do as dancers. Is it a step? Is it a figure? Is it a movement? And you can nail down, the question is, how deep do you want to go on the micro level? Okay, so with this in mind, let's start on the 8 count level. And then going back to our analogy, this would be a paragraph, not a big deal for the sake of our discussion, but on the paragraph level, I said, think of the individual 8 count step. Now remember, we have the drag step, the push and crossover, the tachyani, and the half break. So something you can play with. Let me go through those individually for everybody. I'm going to tilt this down for the, oops, sorry, Instagram. Let me tilt this down for the folks at home on Facebook. Okay, so again, feedback from before. I got my white shoes on. My left pant leg is rolled up. Put the microphone on so you can hear my voice as I turn around, because you'll be able to do the steps with me better this way. Okay, so let's go through the individual steps. The drag step is just reaching and dragging. Reach, drag, and then you usually get that little kind of ball change at the end. So the 8 count drag step would be 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, and then we know we repeat it on the other side. From the front, the drag step is 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. Okay, then we have a push and crossover from the back. And you push, and you push, and you cross over. And then we do it on the other side. And you push, and you cross over. So that's a push and crossover element. And at the end of that, you just continue the kicks and crosses. You'll see where we're going with this. Tachyani, jump out, tap, tap, a 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let me back up to the push and crossover from the front. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the other foot. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Tachyani from the front. And 8, 1, 3, 5, 7. And 8, 1, 3, 5, 7. And the last is the half break from the back. 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then that's going to just repeat, right? And so for the front, the half break is a step, step, kick, ball change, step, step, kick, ball change. All right. So now here's the first game, the first micro, if you will. So we've got these individual steps, and we're going to micro it. Now remember, the macro is the full Shim Sham routine. Do you know that full routine or not? Now the micro on the paragraph level is this full 8 count. Ah, there it is. The full 8 count. And so normally when you learn the Shim Sham, you learn that whole section of those steps, and they typically repeat 3 times, and then there's this thing called a break step. For the sake of this talk, we're not going to worry about the break step right now. But what we are going to do is use the drag step, the push and crossover, the tachyani, and the half break as 4 individual steps. Again, each one is an 8 count, but watch what happens here. So I'm going to do the drag step. I'm going to go 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. Right to the push and crossover. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right to the next step. What's interesting is my left foot is free, so I'm going to do a tachyani starting with the left foot. And 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to do a half break, kick, ball change, half break, kick, ball change. And that's also on the other foot, the wrong foot. But now I went through those 4 steps, 8 count individually on a micro level. And now I'm ready with my left foot. So now I can do the whole pattern again, starting the drag on the left. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And now I'm ready with the right foot again. I hope this is making sense for you. So instead of thinking about the Shim Sham as this big, monstrous routine, and there's bigger, crazier ones, the Big Apple, the Tranky-Doo, things like that, and you think about the whole macro routine, and it's pretty overwhelming. But then there are usually, when people teach the dances, the jazz, the classic routines, they break it down into like 4 8-count chunks, usually. Not always, but typically that's the way it's going to work with the music and whatnot. And so we'll teach these 4 8-counts as a chunk. All right, and let's go through this whole thing as a chunk. And then we go on to the next chunk. Right? So again, the analogy I was giving is book, chapter, paragraph, sentences, words, and letters. So right now we're living at the paragraph level, these 8-count movements. So let me dance through that again without stopping. You'll see as I go through the movement, and again, I brought this up before, what's your repertoire? And you want to be ambidextrous. So if you have knowledge of these jazz steps, then you can string them in any order that you want. Also, to be ambidextrous, you want to be able to start them on the right foot or the left foot. So for this first level of micro, I'm just going to do the 4 core steps of the start of the Shim Sham, just 1 8-count right after the other, and string them together. I'm going to start on my right foot. You'll see how that works, and then go right to my left foot. Okay, so here I go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, and 3. Other side, kick, all change. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, let's watch that from the front one time. So here we are, and I have a 5, 6, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. Other side, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so hopefully you're able to see that we are simply taking a micro level to the full macro Shim Sham dance. But now this is where things get fairly interesting. Let me tilt this up for Facebook land. Okay, so that's one level of micro you can go down to. Usually, not always, but a full jazz step, we typically will teach it a full 8-count of a jazz step. Okay, or you might break it down and do like it's 4-count chunks or whatever. But I'm going to go down to the word level in our analogy. Okay, the word level of our analogy was breaking things down into 2 counts. Okay, so now this is where it gets funky. So if you think about 2-count movement, then here's basically the way the Shim Sham breaks out. Now this is bringing my previous life as an engineer, as a business consultant, analyzing things way too much. And like some people might look at this and be like, what is he talking about? But for me, this was kind of fun today, thinking about it at this level. So here is the Shim Sham. For Instagram land and for Facebook land. There you go. That's it. 9 steps, or I label them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. So I'm thinking of the word level, the 2-count level. So the drag step, let's look at that in particular. So the drag step, let me tilt this down again for Facebook land. If I think about the micro level of the movement, Okay, the drag step has a drag and a step. So I'm taking my right foot and I'm choosing to drag it and step. And that takes 2 counts. 1, 2. Now you can start that on the 8, 8, 1, whatever. That doesn't matter. I'm talking about the core movement is 1, 2. And so now if I have a drag step, if I take that core movement, then I can do that movement back and forth. So I can go right foot, left foot, drag step, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Step, I'm alternating back and forth. So the core movement, drag step, is alternating back and forth. Well, what's the other element of the Shim Sham basic step or the drag step? So usually when you do it, you go right foot, left foot, right foot, and right foot again. Now some people will just do another drag, but I like to put that little and drag step in there. Now if you put that and drag step, you have and drag step, and drag step, and drag step. So the and is putting my weight on the other foot. And drag step, and drag step. Now notice if I do this and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now the movement stays on the right foot. And 1, 2, 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 and 1, 2. So I kept doing that on my right foot. So now if I do a drag step, now I'm on my left foot, drag step, and drag step. Now I keep it on the left, and drag, and drag, and drag, until I step without the and go to there. So again, we're just taking that drag step and breaking it down into its very, very, very micro 2-step movement. Okay, let's move on to the push and crossover, right? And so now the push and crossover is going to be just a push and a step, a push and a kick, and 2 steps. All right, so if you look at our notes here, C, D, and E. C, D, and E, let me move it out for Instagram land. There we go. So C is a push and a step, D is a push and a kick, E is a step and a step. So that looks like this. So I'm here, and I go push, step. All right, so there's a push element and then a step element. So I push and then I step. So this is going to be a push, step, push, kick, step, step. So I'm going to do push, step 1, push, step 2, push, kick 1, then step, step. So it's putting together that C, push and step, D, push and kick, and E, step, step together. And in the notes I've got, so push and crossover is a C, C, D, E. I do that 3 times, and the break step, don't worry about that for right now, we're skipping the break. But you can see now how I'm microing down. You'll see how this is going to become important in a second. So I'm microing down the movements of the individual. So if you say do a push and crossover step, somebody will do the whole thing independently of the smaller micro elements that we're looking at right now. Okay, let's move on to the tachyani. So the tachyani has a ball change and a tap, and then a step tap element. All right, so a ball change and a tap. So the tachyani will start with a ball change tap. All right, so watch that from the back. Ball change tap. So if I do the whole thing, I have ball change tap, step, tap, step, tap, step, step, ball change, tap, step, tap, step, tap, step, step. So I'm using that step, step from the previous movement. I've got a ball change tap, and if I keep repeating that, I have and 8, 1, and 8, tap, and 8, tap, and 8, tap, and 8, tap. So that individual 2-count movement. And 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Step tap is a 1, 2. All right, and then there's a step-step element in there as well, which we've already covered. So we're going through these individual 2-count movements. Now we move on to the half break. Now the half break is a step-step, which we've already done. Step-step kickball change. Step-step kickball change. So a kickball change is a 2-count movement. So we already did step-step from before. So if I start that with my right foot, step-step, I count that in 2 counts. 1, 2, kickball change, 1 and 2. So there's a 2-count movement of a step-step, a 2-count movement of a kickball change. And I'm going to repeat that for the half break. Step, step, kickball change, 1, 2, 1 and 2. Step, step, kickball change, 1, 2, 1 and 2. Now I'm counting it 1, 2, 1, 2 because of it. I want you to hear that it's just 2 counts. When we actually dance these jazz steps, we usually start on the 8. 8, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, it doesn't matter if you count 8, 1, 1, 2, B, B, buzz, buzz. It doesn't matter. But you got to understand right now where we're at the micro level is just this 2-count movement. Here's where it gets fun. I hope I didn't lose you in all of this movement. And again, anybody that donates $5 or more will get all the details in this nice 3-page PDF. And it has all those steps on the last page that you can print out. Why? Because this is where we're going to take this now. We just very quickly went through the individual Shim Sham steps in their 2-count micro movement fashion. Now, I'm going to play a game. Now, I'm just going to pick a sequence. I'm going to pick the sequence that I put in my notes. I'm going to do the A, the C, the I, and the H. The drag step, the push step, the kickball change, and the step tap. So this is the sequence that we're going to do right now. Okay. So now I'm taking, here's for Instagram, and here's for Facebook. Okay. So on the micro level, this is where you can really start to play and have fun. Instead of thinking about a drag step, a push and crossover, a tacchiani, a half break, and thinking of it as that main step. On the macro level, that's an 8-count step. On the micro level, I just showed you it can be breaking down into 2 steps. So let's go through this. Now, the questions I have on these is, so you create an 8-count step. So you're going to pick 4 numbers, 4 letters, breaking down steps, whatever. Okay, you're going to string that together for a new step. Here's our new step. All right, we're going to call it the Joel step tonight. Okay, now, when you do this sequence, does it create an alternating pattern or a same foot pattern? Let's see. Let's check this out. Let's see what happens. So again, we're going drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we're going to go drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. All right, now my right foot is ready again. So I go drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. So the question is, does the sequence create an alternating pattern or a same foot pattern? This is a same foot pattern. So I'm going to keep going with the right foot. Drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. Drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. Shot, boom, dee, dee, shot, da, da, ba, boom, dee, ya, dee, dee, shot, da, da, ba, boom. All I'm doing is taking the 2-count movement and putting it all together in a different way. So I just created a brand new jazz step. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But we're taking the individual micro chunks of a jazz movement and stringing them together in different ways. Now, again, as you keep dancing stuff like this, again, I just geek out about this because of my engineering background and business, like spreadsheet analysis. For those of you that know me well, I like spreadsheets and numbers and breaking it down like this. And so this is where I would say, like, I wouldn't call myself a dancer because I don't think, well, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but like eventually my point is you don't have to think about it so mechanically or so rigid and so structured the way I'm structuring it right now, but this helped my brain a little bit with tonight's talk of macro and micro. But if we take the exercise and we think of it and on the artist level, the dancer level, you hear something in the music and you want to do something. And again, I say, what's your repertoire? Like what knowledge do you have of all the individual jazz steps? And if all you know is the full 8-count move and you don't understand the individual movements that make it up, then you might be overwhelmed on the dance floor thinking, how do I fit this whole 8-count thing into my dance? Well, it's not a whole 8-count thing. It's a series of micro movements, smaller movements that make up that step. And so I don't know if this has a certain name to it or not, but I've just created a new jazz step off of this. And let's change something. Let's play with this. So again, this is a same set movement. Drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. And whether you start counting it on the 1 or the 8, it doesn't matter, right? So let's go through that one more time and I'm going to show you something cool. So there's the sequence. Oh, there we go for Instagram land. And there's that step tap at the end. And then again, I'm going to keep repeating it on the right foot. Watch that one more time on this macro movement. So I'm just going to start counting on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. Now I go on the right foot again. Now let's say I started on the 8. It doesn't matter. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. Drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step, tap. And I'm going to keep repeating that on the right foot. But what happens if I swap the step tap? Sorry, Instagram. I'm going to swap the step tap with the good old step. Okay? So now I'm going to swap that last one out. Boop, there's Facebook and Instagram. So now I have drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step. This completely changes the dynamic a little bit at the end. Now instead of being a same foot step, it's going to be an alternating footstep. Watch what I mean by that. So here I am, and I'm going to go drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step. Now my left foot is ready. That's the other side. And I'm going to go drag step, push step, kick, ball change, step. Now I'm going back and forth. Right side, shoot, boom, ha, ga, da, ba, ba. Or step, my bad. Left side, T, do, shot, ga, da, boom, boom. Right side, ba, boom, shot, ga, da, ba, ba. Left side, do, boom, ba, 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 ba. So I'm creating all these different rhythms and all these different steps based on the micro movements of the jazz steps in the Shim Sham. So the macro is the Shim Sham. Hey, do you know the Shim Sham? Some dancers say yes. Some dancers say no. That's the macro, the highest level, the full routine. That full routine has the drag step, push and crossover, tacky Annie, half breaks, and a break step. And then you do a boogie back and a boogie forward and a boogie back and a shorty George. And all those words to some of you out there are like, what is he talking about? Well, all of those are the individual jazz steps. So the macro is the Shim Sham. The micro are all these individual jazz steps. And when we teach it in sections. And in the Shim Sham, I didn't create it, I just like passing it along. We usually do 3 of the jazz steps and a break step. And again, if you don't know the Shim Sham, you're like, what is he talking about? The notes will make a little bit more sense. But now what I'm talking about today is the individual jazz steps and breaking them into an 8-count, which we did a little bit earlier, and then breaking them into little 2-count sections. So the last thing I want to leave you with, and this is really interesting because, again, what I did is I just changed one of the 2-count elements, the step tap, to a step. And that changed the dynamic of the 8-count step that I created being a same foot or an alter foot or alternate foot. But let's look at this a little bit because this is like, I got it highlighted, the power of the and step. This is where we're going to wrap things up here. Okay, so let's look at this. So the power of the and is thinking of things in a 2-count micro level. All right, 2-count micro level. So let's say the easiest thing is a step tap, right? That's an alternating pattern because I'm going to go step tap right, step tap left, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. So this is alternating, right? But now watch the power of the and step. I'm going to go step, tap, and step, tap, and step, tap, and step, tap, and step, tap. Now I keep doing the right foot, right, right, and right, and right, and right, and right. Now if I take that and out, what do I have? Step, tap, alternating. Right, step, tap, and same, alternate. Boom, boom, and same, alternate. And same. Look at the kickball change. Another common movement we have is a kickball change. Now this one starts out, it's the same foot pattern. If I kick my right foot and I do a kickball change, I'm ready again with the right foot. Same foot pattern. Kickball change. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Right foot. Right foot. Right foot. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that and into the movement, and that's going to be an alternating foot. This is a really cool pattern with the kickball change. So I'm going to go kickball change, and now I'm ready with the left foot, the alternate foot. Kickball change, and right foot. Kickball change, and left, and right, and left, and right. Now watch. Left, 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 and right, and left, and right, 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 and left, and right, and left, left, left. So if you have the knowledge of this micro movement, and again, right now you're like, whoa, that's crazy, and like counting it out and thinking of it in that chunk, eventually you won't think of it so mechanically. Things will just happen and you'll know. Followers do this a lot. When you're dancing and you know you're on the opposite foot when you're ready with the music or a move for the one or a rock step on your right foot, you'll do an and step and switch over right before, and that switches your feet up. So followers kind of do what I call a purposeful fudging a lot of times. So me putting that and in is a purposeful addition to give it a little switch to the other side. So you can just go kickball change, always with the right foot, or kickball change and left ball change and right ball change and left ball change, or step, right, or the step, tap, an alternating foot, a step, tap, and step, tap, changes it to the same foot or an alternating foot. I hope I didn't blow your mind too much with this concept of macro and micro, but it's a fun challenge for your dance scene if you are interested in jazz steps. Now, this is, for the sake of this talk, I just took the Shim Sham elements. So feel free to take this and blast it into other jazz steps that you know, other routines that you know. You can come up with a huge laundry list of the like regular vernacular jazz steps, and then break it down again into the micro movements, analyze it, figure out how it works, how the movement goes, and then just kind of play around with creating your own steps, your own rhythms. Can this go into that really smoothly? And then you start to play and your body will feel, I mean, certain things fit well together, certain things don't, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't give it a try. Then when you go out and social dance, you're just ready to move and groove however you want to, putting together all these individual movements. So that concludes tonight's College of Swing Era Knowledge jazz topic, specifically macro and micro. Any of you that donate $5 or more tonight/tomorrow morning after watching the talk will get detailed notes on this. And again, for teachers, it's nice because this last page, I already have it listed out for you, Instagram and Facebook. So you can print an extra one of those out, cut them out, and have them ready, have them on a board for your students. Call out all these different rhythms, switch them around. I mean, that's a nice challenge. Like, boom, switch the steps around, call it out, have them do it, get some different rhythms in their bodies. So play around with this idea of micro. Have fun with it. Don't stress too much about it. Have fun with it. Put some music on. Go, go, go. And once again, Joel's College of Swing Era Knowledge. Monday, jazz. Tuesday, Charleston. Wednesday, Lindy Hop and Jitterbug. Thursday, evening swing right here in Spokane from 7 to 8. Friday, shag. Saturday, bell swing. Sunday, teachers and organizers. As always, stay safe out there. Night, night. Crazy about you. Woohoo!